Thank you for staying with us. For quite some time, Nigerians have been shouting enough is enough regarding insecurity ravaging the country. But the question is, when will enough be truly enough? Miffed by the wanton killing of police officers nationwide, the Inspector General of Police, Usman Alkali Baba, warned that attacks on policemen will no longer be tolerated under whatever guise. Jide, I saw before we go into the killings, because you said it some weeks back that the rate at which they kill policemen, it's unpardonable across the country. Yeah. Now we've even seen citizens after the aftermath of the NSAS attack. We see people, we see visuals, very funny visual, a man with a gun, and you are pulling that man. You are pulling that man and you are pulling him for whatever reason, a civilian. I don't know what has gotten into us as people.
Well, I don't think this is entirely new. People confronting policemen did not start with NSAS. NSAS, yes, policemen were targeted. Remember, the whole idea of NSAS was in response to extrajudicial killing by police.
Yes.
Killing people in broad daylight, even contesting among themselves. You know, give me the honor of killing him. That video, people saw that video and they were perplexed. I remember that even the vice president said, look, that he found it difficult to look at some of those videos depicting extrajudicial killing by policemen. You know, so policemen being attacked by people had been there for some time. But my own concern is killing of policemen by bandits, by terrorists. They are targeted. If you look at some of the recent violent combustions in Taraba State especially, so many policemen have been killed. And the rate at which they are killing them does not measure up to the rate at which we are replacing policemen. Up till now, there's a conflict between the Police Service Commission and the Office of the Police about recruitment of new police officers. That's a country that had not even recruited into the police for years. Now, they are even still fighting over this matter. Only a court can determine who indeed has the power to recruit policemen. But when you read about reports from the Northwest, in all the areas where we're facing rampant insecurity, policemen are routinely being killed. But I think that the people that the IG is bothered more about are civilians who will take it upon themselves to attack policemen. We've seen even these Okada riders
in Lagos,
who in Lagos think that they are lords unto themselves. We've seen them attack and kill policemen. They kill policemen. Okada riders. They kill policemen. So if people are not allowed to do their job of law enforcement, then where are we headed as a country? Look at the idiot who broke a bottle on a policeman's head the other day. I asked a very senior police officer shortly after we showed that video. He said the boy that they've been looking for him, he fled Nigeria. That they were told that he ran away to Togo. However long it takes, such a person must be arrested. I was happy the other day when a civilian who beat up traffic controllers.
Okay,
yes. After more than a year of hiding, they eventually got hold of him. This is what we want. Teach them a lesson.
Did you remember DPO? That boy. The DPO's uniform.
They killed the DPO, and he was wearing his uniform. But I was happy that on the day that he was paraded along with others, I saw that he had used a natural lipstick. I said, my people My people had done their thing. See, because and he had become very sober. He had become very sober. You know,
beating the hell out of him.
Yeah, so that you know that you can't call yourself a DPO when you didn't go through police college. So, but that lipstick, I was happy. Seeing that lipstick, I said yes, it's very good. My people are
they did a nice.
If he has not, if you look at his pockets very well on that day, his breast pocket, perhaps his passport was in his pocket. Who knows? He may have even traveled. That is for the deep.
MJ, now we don't, because when we are gravitating towards a state of anarchy, sometimes it takes you to see that camouflage for the military men, for people to, you know, to behave. Sometimes when you just see that black uniform or you just see the police blue uniform, it doesn't, you know, add as anything. But it is time that the Nigerian police force, that reorientation and that kind of, you know, putting their feet on the ground, that people cannot just constitute themselves to area boys. You want to arrest an individual and they will just surround you and they will be able to carry out their lawful duties.
You see, as we approach the 2023 general elections, there'll be a lot of vices, and I'm happy that the IGP led that riot act to his men. Fine, the policemen at times they do some funny stuff, but you see, in a sane environment, you don't see the kind of thing that happened during the NSAS, where people dragged out the DPO, they were beating him, they clubbed him to death. I mean, these are guys that are supposed to be protecting us. So now the IGP, while talking to some policemen in Abuja, I think during the week, said the report by the Amnesty International that the police used extra force during the Lekki protest, that's, as far as he is concerned, is bullshit. And that the policemen too are also human. So when you are talking of human rights, they also have human rights too. That they have the right to protect themselves. I mean, we have reeled out examples here how people treated policemen. One even put it on Twitter. Is it 2 weeks ago that I spat in his face, just to show that yes, I have a disdain for policemen. He wrote it on Twitter that yes, that policeman I spat, and I'm happy for the PPRO. Fantastic guy. Before you do anything, before the guy was able to delete that tweet, he already grabbed it.
Yes, sir.
And guy.
Yeah,
guy.
Unde, fantastic. Just like our friend in the other TV station that day, that was trying to change the narrative. He said, boy, no, don't go there. You called me and you agreed, you accepted that you messed up, you passed BRT lane. Now you are saying they called the gun.
They pointed a gun at you.
They pointed at you. So, policemen, at times they have.
And those guys have body camera.
They have body cam.
So they can easily play.
So
people don't know that.
No, it was.
Last man in Lagos has some tools.
See.
That can expose your lies.
Did it was when they told him that, boy, all the things you have said, fine, no, but those guys have. But they were trained in UK. All the policemen working with Lamata, all of them have been trained in UK, and they came with body cams. So any lie you want to tell against them, you must be careful. So by the time they told him that, guy, you said they even took your money, they called the gun at you.
Leave that guy, Maji.
So on this matter, I think the police is right. They have every cause to defend themselves. Although they should also check the excesses of some of them.
I'd like to commend anybody, those people involved in the rebuilding of grammar school police station. Okay. Today you need to go to Penn Cinema. Beautiful police station.
The
grammar school police station.
A lot of money, yes. Invested a lot of money.
Grammar
it
school.
Not only supplied them with vehicles, You know, you see some.
Yeah, you will see donated by.
Yes.
Okay,
Donated
okay.
vehicles.
Oh, okay. And the one of Pen Cinema.
Isuzu Tiger kind of vehicle, and then it's built that place up.
And you know, the Lagos State governor promised that all the police stations destroyed during the NSAS
will be rebuilt.
Never again must we allow
the Lagos State government is building some, and kudos to
our beloved
you
state,
get
Lagos
to
State.
some police stations now. You would think you are in
No, it's an opportunity to make them
to remodel, yes.
Yes, some that are not story buildings, made them story. They also ask for health centers. I'm sure that Sanwo-Olu in due course will deliver on the promise that he made to the police, because their welfare is also important. We know they are bad eggs. You know, there are some policemen who are
sure.
downright
Just like we have in
irresponsible.
all other all professions.
But I'm happy for one thing, they expose their own bad eggs.
Yeah.
Yes.
They deal with
They have
them.
been
Did we not see so-called
roping them.
lawyers the other
Yes.
day? So-called lawyers stealing phones
Stealing
in public,
phones
in fact.
destroying...
NBA conference.
I didn't want to say it till their president came out.
No, he said
they stole phones.
They stole phones. so and you expect
Lawyers who-
people went through university, went to law school. So if there are such bad eggs amongst them, why are people thinking that it's only police
No.
that have criminals?
So have you forgotten the NBA election
Yes.
in Delta, where they were freely medical doctors who freely throwing chairs and tables?
But they didn't steal phones. You can be angry and show your anger,
and they
but
didn't
to
steal
steal bags, to steal phones, that's on a higher scale.
Mr. Pata just brought them out. He brought them. He
Oh
couldn't
no,
even
the
defend
videos
them.
are
He brought
there.
them out. He said it.
No, he's just like maybe a charge and bail lawyer who suddenly sees come on 19.
My
And he
friend
decided
Evans
to steal
Ofili
it.
was saying that, oh, it hasn't been proven in court that Akpata cannot say that way, that the court has not called them a thief.
Let
I
him
said,
stay there. Let him stay there.
I don't want to laugh too much.
All right. Well, he has some lawyer friends. I'm sorry. Moving on now, it appears the more we see, the less we know regarding the crisis rocking the opposition People's Democratic Party, PDP. In another twist to the crisis, the PDP national chairman, Yocha Ayu, said the party is not built on any individual and no one can destabilize it. Speaking in Kano, Ayu declared that the PDP is built by the people, hence it is on course to winning the 2023 general election. Babajide, yes, Ayu is talking tough, and Wiki said yesterday that in a short time that we hear from him. Now, I don't know. Wiki is enjoying this moment. Him and his lieutenant, Dr. Governor Ekwazu, Governor Sheyi Makinde, following up and down. They are now national heroes. Your tongue. But the problem, the bottom line now is that if you were to be the chairman of the People's Democratic Party and the flag bearer of the People's Democratic Party, what can be done? They've exhausted the room for dialogue. They've done every other thing.
I'm not sure they've exhausted the room for dialogue.
So those demands.
How many of those demands have they made for you?
You ran an election with me. You lost an election, and you now turned yourself.
Hold on. It's not see. Don't see it. You are imagining that he's the only person who thinks that certain things are wrong.
Yes,
That's the mistake. That's the mistake.
It's just the mouthpiece.
You know, when people are suggesting they should suspend him, are they serious at all? You suspend Wike? Even in APC, when the national chairman moved against the governor, what was the result? A sitting governor? And the bulk of those governors are southern governors. The issue of balance, whether we like it or not, the issue of balance, PDP had always had it, whereby this one, the presidential candidate, will be from the south, and then the national chairman will be from the north. They've always had that balance. So those who complain about that, they have a point. Don't for a moment imagine that it's only Wike who thinks like that. The day Ayu's matter comes to vote, that is when you will know that it is not Wike alone. There are some governors, how many governors have even come out to oppose what Wike said? Amongst them.
Publicly.
How many?
That Wike is holding the party to ransom.
Our governors, governors criticize one another. We've seen it.
Yes.
We've seen how many have said, on the issue of the national chairman, how many governors have said it is wrong? Who is that southern governor who openly say no, there's nothing wrong in having presidential candidate from the north and national party chairman from the north?
Even the
who will openly come and say that? These are the things. He knows what he's doing. He's pushing because he knows that there are many of his colleagues who may not publicly open their mouths to complain about some things, but he knows how they feel about some of those issues. And then some of the demands like, okay, let us put our people in the campaign committee and all that. Those are not big demands. The one that is difficult, those who are even the NWC is divided on the matter. But there are those who believe that this is too close to the election. If we say you should go now, so close to the election, what do? The issue now, the confusion, the big confusion is, if you are saying you should resign, the law says that when he resigns, it is the vice president not that takes his place.
Okay.
It is the vice president not. It's similar even in APC. It is the vice president not that should step in. Now the vice president not, think that it should not be Northerner that will be chairman. But if he resigns, if his resignation we're talking about, he has to be.
That means the purpose of his resignation would have been defeated.
Would be defeated. So the idea is now what they can do is probably dissolve. That's why it's difficult. You either dissolve the LWC and then bring in other people to make sure that, okay, that problem is solved. Because if you tell him to go and another Northerner steps in there, you have not achieved your aim.
Mujid, Wike is enjoying the moment, and in the next 9 months, if he doesn't maximize what he's doing now, if he doesn't play the right game, he will just be confined to the dustbin of history.
I think I must let the PDP know what they are up against. Wike has these 3 governors, 4 of them now. There are 2.4 million votes in Rivers, 2.5 million in Oyo, 1.4 million each in Benue and Abia. So if you aggregate all this, there are about 8 million votes by this governor. So for you to say that a single individual cannot dictate to the party, he is saying that because one of the conditions given by Wike for negotiation is the fact that Ayu must resign before they can even talk. Now, it's not only Ayu that is saying that. I heard Chief Bode George the other day saying that
the devil has entered the party.
He said there are 6 main positions in the party, in PDP, that not a single one is from the Southwest. So that how is he going to convince his people to vote for PDP? That Ayu said if a presidential candidate emerges from the north, he would resign as a sacrifice. He said that on tape. So now,
as it happened under Jonathan,
he has tasted power now.
Now he now put a caveat that he only said if he wins presidential. Now he has added a caveat now that if he wins, he
power
didn't say
is sweet.
No, because power is sweet. So that's why you can see Seyi Makinde aligning with Wike on this matter, and also Autumn and Com.
Because many of them think that it's even time for the Southwest.
For the South,
they've never produced the chairman of the party.
Not even a matter for Southwest, for the South. That they had an agreement, and now Ayu is saying that because he has tasted the thing, so that's why 8 million votes are in contention.
That is even assuming that it is limited to those.
To those 4.
I know a governor
that is not talking.
I know a governor that doesn't talk, who is
with them
in agreement, full agreement with the Wikes of this world. So people assume that it's just Wike alone. It just happens that he's the one who has the capacity to talk at every opportunity. So it doesn't mean that others too, that he doesn't have supporters.
And we also need to let them know that elections are like the premiership. It's not like mathematics where you add 2 and 2 and you get 4. The moment you lose 8 million votes, you need an extra 8 million to catch up. So if you are losing 8 million, we are talking of 16.
Maybe that's why they were excited about the prospect of Kano yesterday.
Yeah, and they should understand that Shekarau, I have a lot of respect for him, but his power and influence have been seriously decimated by Kwakwanso and the Ganduje.
All right. Okay, let's quickly take this break. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back.
The federal government, through the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, announces the availability of COVID-19 and childhood vaccines nationwide. With the disturbing increase in reported cases of COVID-19 infections across Nigeria, protect yourself and loved ones from the harmful virus by getting vaccinated. Visit the nearest public or private health facility and mass vaccination sites today to receive the first, second, or booster doses of COVID-19 vaccines. COVID-19 vaccines are given to persons 18 years and above, including pregnant women and breastfeeding mothers, while childhood vaccines are given to children from birth to 5 years for protection against polio, hepatitis, yellow fever, measles, meningitis, and other vaccines-preventable diseases. All vaccines are free, safe, and effective. For inquiries, visit www.nphcda.gov.ng or call 0700-220-1122.
This message is from NPHCDA in partnership with the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, with support from our
If you're just joining us, you're right on time for Journalist Hangout. We're reaching you live from Lagos, Nigeria, and I see how Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Mojid Jami in the house. For a country like Nigeria, which is facing financial constraints, revenue generated must be remitted and accounted for. The House of Representatives Committee on Finance has directed the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation to provide details of revenue remittances of more than 60 revenue-generating agencies. During the presentation of the 2023-2025 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper, Chairman of the committee, James Abiodun Faleke, berated the Accountant General of the Federation's office for failing to provide updated records of remittances by some of these agencies. Judy, we need money. And for some time now, these revenue-generating agencies, they've not been remitting to the Federation account, and they've not been accountable, to say the least.
Well, yes, they are remitting, but not remitting enough. That is a fact. They are remitting. In fact, I could say they saved us when NNPC, because there were months when NNPC didn't remit a dime. So they are remitting, but not remitting enough.
Optimally.
They are not remitting enough. The avenues through which resources are leaking, there are too many. Okay, look at the Office of Accountant General of the Federation that we are talking about. Receipts are still being handwritten instead of being electronically generated. You are using hand. Receipt that somebody can easily forge, he can go and print and issue to you. Look at the arguments when they met Faleke and Co. The FRSC man said that they remitted over 2 billion to the Federation account. The director from the Office of the Accountant General said it was 1.6. Where is the rest? The rest, certainly no less than 500 million. Where is it? We need to find out where 500 million plus ended. If there is argument between these two men as per what was generated, what was remitted, then we must get to the truth of the matter. In this age and time, You are using using hand to write receipts, hand generated. There's nothing that allows for fraud more than that. Why do last mile officials, when they catch you, even though sometimes they behave in irresponsible manner, when they catch people, even for sometimes when you didn't commit offense, the next thing they do is to quickly issue receipt. They know that once it has gone into the system, there's nothing you can do. It's a fait accompli. You must pay. Where last man will grab someone and say you committed obstruction, whereas you are on your lane. It's your word against theirs. Or is this said? Then you go there to make sure once they write that receipt, it's gone. It has entered their system. You cannot do anything. So we have more than 60 revenue generating agencies. But if you subject each of these revenue generating agencies to a thorough scrutiny, you will see that people are actually enemies of our country. They are not allowing us to maximize the advantages of having these agencies. And now we have a big problem with revenue, a situation in which debt servicing outstrips our revenue. What do we do? We've got to focus now. That's why you read what the DMO, woman said, that we must focus now on revenue generation because we are in trouble.
How we are going to quadruple it?
If we do not focus on revenue generation and increase the capacity of these various agencies to generate into the consolidated revenue account, we will be in trouble. How many loans are we going to take? We are taking loans as if the business of taking loans is getting out of fashion. But what do? Are we now going to be taking loans to even pay debt? Because that is my fear now. If what you are spending servicing your debt, because these debts you must service them, and they are denominated in foreign currency, the bulk of them, the foreign loans at least. Now, if you are not generating enough to match your level of debt repayment, there is no other way. Look at the way Sanusi described it. He said, if your interest is greater than profit, you are in trouble. Your company is in trouble.
Fold up. Bankrupt.
So this is, you are bankrupt. We are on a cliff. Economically, we are on a cliff. We need to take drastic measures. They need to be more transparent. I expect the Senate to also focus, the Public Accounts Committee of the Senate, they should focus on these revenue generating agents because we have to hold them here. We are gasping as a country, so we have to hold them. They can do much more than they are doing, and the evidence is there. The evidence is there. They don't even have the record. They ask them, when they ask for clarification, okay, you said these people generated 1.6, but they are saying that is 2 billion that they remitted. The man said they should give him more time. Why they give you more time?
Why are we still operating archaic, analog system and things that should not take us,
It's AY. It's very easy. When you do handwritten receipts, it allows them to steal money. Pure and simple. Now, I'll give just one example of when Professor Oloyede came to JAMB. They were writing, using handwritten receipts before he came and said, no, we must digitalize everything. Before he came to JAMB in 2016 or 2017, JAMB was taking 500 million subvention from federal government every year. But in 2017, under Professor Ishaq Oloyede, JAMB remitted 7.8 billion to the federal government. Just because...
And it's not a revenue generating...
It's not a revenue generating agency. Just because it migrated JAMB from analog to digital. Now, between 2017 and today, JAMB alone has remitted 27.2 billion naira to the federal government. Before then, it's always in deficit. That's just one example.
Permanently in deficit.
NNPC.
And they will still collect that allocation.
NNPC is like a law unto themselves. Nobody can query them. Nobody can question them. They have refused to be audited. So they do things the way they want, and nobody can do anything about them. And that is an agency that should be giving the federal government the highest revenue.
Yes.
Customs, to themselves, they have, to some extent, they have been able to improve on their revenue generation. We have several, the key revenue generating agencies in Nigeria. Just 10 of them can give us more than what we get from crude oil. After all,
Of course.
UK only lives on tax and levies.
Yeah, they don't have
depend
natural resources.
on national resources. So if you look at NNPC, FRS, Customs, DPR, NIMASA, NPA, National Communications Commission, NBC, Federal Road Safety Commission, and Immigrations, issuance of passports, to the extent that we can't even produce enough passport booklets for our people.
But people who are ready to
People
buy.
are ready to pay.
To pay any amounts.
So who is, like, quote unquote, who is doing us? Talon Shewa.
Yeah, that's why the governor of Kogi said the problem of Nigeria is man-made.
Yes.
It's man-made. We created the problems for ourselves. We are a wicked
Because
people.
when you have Nigeria Port Authority, when you have FAN, when you have all these big agencies,
It
and we still can't
reduced
match
JAMB
NNPC.
form. The amount paid on JAMB form, he reduced it. In 5 years, he has remitted 27 billion.
And if you see the number of people that have occupied position in NIMASA and everything, standing trial,
We have a
our
situation in Nigeria now where
Corporate Affairs
snakes,
Commission, all of them,
snakes,
so much money.
a scorpion, and
Now
which other
termites,
animal?
they are blaming termites again now.
are eating billions of naira in Nigeria.
When they were probing them, they said, okay, where are the vouchers
They said termites
with
are
which
eating
these payments were made? They say, oh, termites have eaten up the... Because we talk the vouchers,
Because
how
if
do you explain
if you
the
did-
expenditure?
That's why they are running away from remitter. They won't want to do remitter or TSA. They won't. Because they would rather prefer... See,
Indeed, even with the TSA, ICPC discovered so many illegal accounts that have effectively bypassed the TSA. And these are in respect of government parastatals and agencies. Bypassing the TSA.
Some will
not
get the
in-
approval. Some will get approval. Say,
open
no,
parallel
our own is
accounts.
very important. We have to. We can't work with TSA. You
know-
can't be
you
telling
know-
the
you know what
military
they do?
to work with TSA now.
you know what they do? They call it SPVs, Special Purpose Vehicles. They say this thing is urgent, so they need to open that account. So they divert some of the monies there.
The
And that's-
connivance of the
And that's
banks.
why ShopRite had to leave Nigeria, because from the management in ShopRite, the Nigerian management, down to the clerk there, they were bringing their own POS machine into ShopRite. They defrauded that entity into the tune of about 800 million.
Sure.
So you go there,
people.
you think you are paying to ShopRite, but you are
into
paying to
individuals.
individuals.
Even when we had those toll gates,
Yes, I
people
remember.
had their
Of course,
own
their own receipts.
Receipts.
or tickets.
was
Those,
never
like
those
that.
little
Those tickets
tickets.
that- yes.
They had their own. They printed their own. So what they do is they will sell some of government own, so that you don't accuse them of not making money in a given day. So once they've sold the quota for government, they will now bring out their own receipts. So that one is their own this thing. The other day I was in Kano coming here after I traveled by road from Katsina. When we got to the gate of the airport, the driver brought out money. Because this guy, despite the fact that he saw
Cameras.
he saw the sticker.
Okay.
Because there are some who will not pay, who will say, oh, we are press men, they will leave them. The guy insisted he must pay. I said, fine. So after he paid, he refused to give him
A receipt.
a receipt. I said, why wouldn't you
Because if
collect this receipt
you
from
don't
this
collect
guy?
the receipt, you have
The money
you
you
are
paid
aiding
goes
him.
straight into his
So his
pocket.
pocket.
He knows what he's doing. He applied that pressure, the guy paid, and he didn't give him receipt. So when I said, but you should have insisted on this, he said, leave him. I said, oh, I should leave him.
Oh,
He said, but you are the one who said you are in a hurry. I said, okay, you got me there. Let's go.
And finally, social media sharks who specialize in spreading misinformation and character assassination online have becoming more daring and dangerous. Some purveyors of fake news and are targeting the president of the Court of Appeal, Justice Monica Dongbam Mensah. To what end? What can you tell us about this?
Well, it's not difficult to know where the attacks on this no-nonsense judge is coming from. There are people who did their best to ensure that she did not get the job in the first place, even though she was the most senior and most eminently qualified for the job. It took a while, but the president eventually had her confirmed for the job. Now, what are they talking about? What the content of the frivolous petitions are ridiculous, to say the least. The main grudge, and it is suspected that some of the people behind this petition are actually individuals using contractors, that this woman has not paid or is not paying contractors. They fail to mention the fact that the capital budget was reduced drastically. I think I have the figure here. The capital budget was reduced in 2020. The capital budget was 4,070 million. 2021, it was 4,469 million. But 4 new
justices,
4 new offices of the Court of Appeal were created, meaning that she had to
do with the existing budgets.
She had to, and you know, when you appoint new judges like that, you have to accommodate them. You have to provide vehicles for them,
and the courts where they will see.
Yes, accommodation. So now the budget should have been commensurate with the fact that you are appointing more judges who have to be catered for. That is an issue that no one is talking about. They accused her of not allowing judges to go on international trips. But in 2021, because of COVID, NJC froze all international trips for training. So it's not her fault. It's not her fault. Yet it is part of what they said in that commission. Overhead cost for 2021 was reduced from 5 billion to 2.8 billion. So she's had to cope with shrinking resources, yet you expected that even if she's used even if she wanted to use all our capital budget of 4 billion plus to pay all contractors, what the liability that she met was about 10 billion. So it would not even have been enough. Yet she paid 2.7 billion to contractors. But you are coming to accuse her of this, accuse her of that. What they wanted to see is like the bandwagon effect for what happened to the CJN.
Okay.
So they were thinking, okay, this is the second.
The two cases are not similar.
Yes, why shouldn't it happen here? They accused the woman of buying bulletproof SUV for herself, but it was the NJC that actually bought the vehicle. The NJC's tenders board treated the matter and bought the vehicle, and it is her entitlement. Especially when the office. Yes, especially when the woman who used to occupy that seat left with all her vehicles. What did you expect her to do? To be walking barefooted? I mean, our people can be very ridiculous sometimes. And, or you know, the most painful thing, this petition was published on the day she was burying her son. So she had earlier lost a son and then lost another. It means that they targeted, the plan was to weigh her down. They wanted to break her. People, if our people are strict, it is so easy for people to conclude that, oh, she's behaving like an emperor, and then hate her for no reason. This is what we are seeing.
Muji, can you shed more light to this?
No, I think some people are just mean and callous. No, like Jide said, this woman deserves a lot of pity. And now, some of us have contacts in the Supreme Court, in the Appeal Court, and even at the High Courts. I've spoken to 4 justices of the Appeal Court today on this issue. And all the 4 of them were on the same page on this matter. They said this frivolous petition is coming from one character known as Badmus Adejo of the postgraduate school, Department of Computer Science, Kogi University. What is your interest in Appeal Court? It's not even a lawyer, not even a lawyer, not even a judge. He said, these are faceless people. Say, the Appeal Court is being supervised by the NJC or the FJSC, the Federal Judicial Service Commission. Said, if they are bold enough, let them write to that agency, and that their budget is open. They get their budget from the NJC. He said, the NJC knows how much comes to the Appeal Court.
Of course.
So, but one of them told me that he has been in the Appeal Court for 8 years, and the law says that every 4 years is entitled to a brand new SUV. Said he's still using the same SUV for the past 8 years, that it should be on the 3rd one now. So, but he is not complaining because he's a member of the financial committee of the Appeal Court. So he knows the funds are not there. So say, what are we talking about here?
I think the government should.
So people are just being funny.
For cyberbullying, I think government should we should handle it with seriousness right now, because the level at which this thing is going, it might be the president of the Court of Appeal today, might be another person tomorrow. The level at which people will just concoct on something substantiated.
Yes, just to damage
to damage people.
Sometimes and even what you did not say, they will say,
they'll credit it to you.
They, you know,
yeah, they'll credit it to you.
On people, undesirable elements, just targeting good people. Because this woman has a very good track record. It was one of the things that helped her to eventually secure the position despite the delay. Now, you are trying to bring her down. You know, she's not paying. Is it practicable to pay contractors with all of the capital votes?
Well, another thing, another reason, when I looked at the thing, one of the justices that spoke with me said, ZMJ, you know why they are doing this? This woman is just about 65. She has about 5 more years to go. And that there are about 3 of them who will retire, who will get to 70. So they feel that if they don't push her out, they won't be able
for too long.
Occupy that position.
Okay.
So that's it. So they think she's going to be like Onogen, Onogen's case is quite different from her own. This woman is upright, and she has been discharging her duties professionally. So I think they should just let her be.
The other day, some people came late to work. She locked them out now. She locked them out.
Very professional. Very diligent.
I have seen cases, Justice, this former Chief Judge of Kogi State, Umaru Eri, they accused her of stealing so much money, and then my boss, Ojudu, said, Jide, you are going to investigate this story. I trust you that it is the truth that you come up with. When I got to Abuja to investigate this story, I discovered that everything that they said about that man...
all lies.
Lies. You know where she offended them? She decided to build lecture theaters. Because the NJI is a training institution for judges.
I remember that story.
Instead of allowing them to be going to hotels and be spending so much money, where some people will now connive with hotel staff and say, okay, this one meat pie, we actually bought it for 5,000 naira. The man decided to build lecture theaters, build places where people can sleep.
Accommodation.
So the people who are in charge, yes, the people who are in charge of arranging for
the training
the
and
trainees to be
yeah.
taken to, they lost the opportunity to make money.
Okay.
The feeding was inside their premises.
I have
that was how they now concocted stories.
In Ogun State. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. I greet you, Babajide, and the moderator and the third person.
Go ahead, you are wasting time.
Yes. Thank you very much. I greet you, Babajide, and Mojit, and the moderator. Okay. I think I want to say something on the remittance of funds. I think we have reached the stage, yes, whereby we have to be very serious as a country. We have a crisis on the area of debt, money, particularly NNPC. I could remember during the time of Obasanjo, Obasanjo had a laptop with himself, even on the plane, on air. He always communicates with the NNPC. I don't know what's happening with this current one. What are we saying? Well, selling oil, and we are not having the money being remitted to the central bank at the account of the federation.
Thank you for your contribution. Thank you for your contribution.
You know, the president has been told repeatedly that the welfare of judges should be taken care of. Yeah. This judge has been complaining bitterly about poor remuneration. In fact, she said that the annual basis salary of the CJN is, is 279,497 monthly, while other justices of the Supreme Court and the president of the Court of Appeal earn 206,425 naira monthly.
What kind of money is that?
And she is saying that their salaries have been static since 2007. You will now say judges are taking money, they are taking bribe. And when their salaries have been static since 2007.
Naira.
Yes, that is it.
See, and somebody is offering you $1 million, $2 million.
We are even talking of gender balance. This woman is the second president of the court, the second PCA, president of the Court of Appeal in the history of the Federation, and we want to push her out. After Bukashua, Justice Sanam Bukashua, she's just the second person. So what are we talking about here? It's signed, for crying out loud, not signed
so
and not dated.
It's students that are now doing petition against judicial officers now.
Even if it's a lecturer, somebody from postgraduate school of a computer science department, Kogi State University, one media houses. And from media houses are pushing that. Not even from a lawyer, not from the bench.
Not from any of our colleagues.
Not even from any of our colleagues.
After all, even that of the, that's why it's different from that of the CGN. It was our own colleagues,
yes,
who generated that
but this one,
memo.
All of them from the academic, not even from the law department or law school of a university. Computer science.
It's just like my son, who is also into computer, and he's just writing about what he does not know. You know?
I think this is
the musician will say, "Show why mean."
This is so baseless. That like a friend of mine will describe it. Say one character, or like if you go to the police, they'll say one. They'll put one before your name, and you know you are a non-entity. The moment they put, they say instead of introducing you as Mr. Ayosuba, they will say one Ayosuba.
If there's any merits in that petition, the NGC will know how to handle it, and I'm sure there's no merit because anything that has to do with
this one I would say is
deals with judges
a petition by one Badmus Adejo.
Okay.
Yeah, that won't qualify.
Even that name, maybe it's even fake. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe fake.
I said the position that I saw is unsigned and undated.
Badmus. The combination of those names,
Very suspect.
the suspect.
And I don't think we should give it.
The woman should just get along with her. She's a strong woman.
Yeah.
You have lost 2 of your sons to untimely death. And she's
and
still,
they are doing this to her.
they still, and they, but,
Very,
I mean,
very
it's
callous,
a very callous,
shameless, and devilish set of human beings.
Thank you,
out
Muji
of
Jami.
selfishness.
Thank you for your contribution, Muji Jami. Abikio, thank you for your contribution. And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another edition of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11. And don't forget to join us on Sunday for Journalist Hangout on Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. Or on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Uzubaku. See you tomorrow, and God bless Nigeria.
Join us to stop crude oil and product theft at production sites, on the pipeline, at terminals, at the depots, on vessels, at refineries. Help stop crude oil and product theft. Report infringements to www.stopcrudetheft.com. You can also validate genuine purchase at validate.stopcrudetheft.com. Please report and be rewarded. This message is from the Nigerian National Petroleum Company, NNPC Limited.